of us left.
Yeah, that was okay. I'm recording. That was the other thing I was gonna mention that really wasn't on the agenda, but that I got to start doing some recruiting here.
Okay, so we don't have Bob anymore?
We
Bob, I'm right here.
don't have Jim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jim.
All right, so we don't have Jim. Okay.
We don't have Jim. I was trying to get him to switch to the Wetlands Commission, considering we don't really do a lot of field work on that commission, but I haven't heard back from him.
Okay. All right. So it's 6:34, and I'll call the Torrington Conservation Commission meeting to order for Thursday, January 21st, 2021. And let's see, we have present is Dan McGinnis, Bob Damali, myself, Christine Altman, and staff member Jeremy Leifert. First order of business is the November 12th, 2020 meeting for approval. Minutes.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Just saying, I have to.
Did I get a second?
I'll second it. It's Bob.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And Bob?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. Then we have new business. Discussion on future projects and goals for 2021.
Yeah, it was, we do have the reviews. Basically, the only thing I really have on the agenda for conservation right now is the open space inventory, discussion of the couple of cleanups that we have to do, and continued contacts for the Leone property. I don't know if anybody else has any ideas for me to move forward with, or if anybody wants to get in any other projects, just something else for us to do besides just a couple of things we've been working on.
Right.
I'm sort of racking my brain, and I can't think of much else right now. I mean, there's that forestry project that's going to be going on up at Bessie Park.
Yeah.
But I don't know that there's much for us to get involved in, except for maybe, seeing how things are, just monitoring how things are going in there.
So what is do we have a mission? We have a written mission, don't we?
Mission statement?
Well, I'm just wondering what.
I don't know. I mean, I just know what the statute says we're responsible for, but we can put our hands in a whole bunch of stuff if we want to.
So what would some of the things that we can put our hands into be? I mean, I know that we often are commenting on conservation based
lawn applications. Yeah, we just haven't had a lot, in the last few months, we haven't had a lot to weigh in on, because there hasn't been, besides that one up at the Walmart Plaza, we haven't had any conservation easements in the last couple of months.
Well,
Go ahead.
One of
No,
the
I was
things
just going to say, just that kind of work. We haven't had a lot of that lately.
one of the things we could do is, there's the Torrington Trails Network, and I think if you work with them on trails, we could work, because I know they're always looking to try to do more trails, and people, especially we have no idea when this virus stuff is going to, end.
Maybe I can see if a couple of their members we could do a joint meeting with a couple of their members.
Yeah.
One thing they are going to be working on that we may see on the Wetland Commission is the property, what is it, the John Brown property now sort of links over to the well, it's 5 Points now. It used to be
5 Points.
the Yukon branch. They want to do a trail off of that John Brown loop trail that goes all the way through the field up at the top, and it would come in the backside of the 5 Points now.
Yeah, and the Heritage Land Trust owns some property up there too, very close to that, and it may be actually linked. I'm not.
I was going to say, if there's adjoining land, maybe we can maybe we could talk with them about that if
Yeah,
directly
there's a
joins. I know there's some private property around there, but
Yeah, there is some, but there's also on the corner of John Brown Road and University Drive, the land trust owns property.
okay.
And I'm not sure it hooks up directly with the 5 Points property or not.
I'll check the map, see if we have any links.
Yeah, I forget if it does.
But that, I don't know if conservation wants to get involved with that, but there's definitely some that's going to be coming down in the spring. They're doing some just initial, they actually have to get the wetland surveyed up there.
Mhm.
So they're going to have their wetlands person in there this winter and putting some maps together for the commission to review.
So
Yeah, to
a
the-
couple of things that I wouldn't mind looking into or getting my hands into would be the, so years ago we had the conservation, the plan of conservation and development,
Mhm.
but I think that it's very basic.
Yeah.
And so expanding upon our plan of conservation, like looking at what's in there and looking at what's missing, and I think that it points out land that is of value or interest to the city from a conservation perspective and why, but
Yeah.
it really doesn't go into any kind of detailed plan of acquisition.
Right.
So like fleshing out our plan of conservation and development is something that I think we should be expanding.
That was the first thing I jumped on when I started here was we needed a full open space plan. Like,
Yeah.
even if it's, I mean, me personally, I think it should be separate, but then referred to, and I'm pointing at it because my plan's right over here.
Yep.
Referred to in the plan, like.
Right. Like, I mean, we're not a wealthy city, as everybody knows, but I think that you don't have a chance in hell of getting any funding if you don't have a clear, like if you have a clear plan
Mhm.
of what, I don't know, and I know nothing about them. You probably know more about them than I do, but I feel like if you have a plan of attack, then I think it's more likely that you're gonna get some help.
Yeah, and that was one of the notes. I wrote down a couple of things to basically remind myself to discuss tonight, and just things I've been working on. And one of them was pulling information from like other open space plans, and just getting my ducks in a row to start working on an open space plan, even if we don't have all of our data together for our existing open space.
Yep.
Because the plan is like part, what do we have on the ground? It's like you said, it's like future plans for property we do have. And
Right.
plans for target acquisitions for, even if it's general wants and needs, we have to at least mention it. We have to talk about it in a.
Yeah, the more detailed that we can be about it, the more likely we can rise to any opportunities that come up, that we can act upon them in an intelligent way.
But even if it's a short plan, it'll expand quite a bit on what we have in the POC.
Right. Well, that's for
So,
sure.
it's only like one page right now.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. So there's that, and then the other interest that I have is food forests. So we have I mean, I know that one was planted by UConn students when UConn Torrington branch was still there on that property.
Yep.
I know that it went in, and we were super excited that it went in. I have no idea what's happened to it. Haven't seen it. Don't know if they're bearing fruit. I know nothing about that.
Okay.
But I think, and it's off the beaten path, but I mean, we have plenty of land, and we have plenty of food scarcity. And so I think that anything that we can do where we're saying like, okay, we're going to take this section of some park
Mhm.
and allow, and plant some edible, do some edible landscaping and make it a public place. I think anytime that we can do that's it.
Why don't you just do community gardens?
We have community gardens. But
don't
what
have
if, I mean, if you have, so here's the deal. If you don't have, we don't have public transportation. We don't have like certain services that allow people to get around anywhere. We're kind of you know,
Yeah.
I think that it would be better if we have some resources, or if we utilize some of our resources in the downtown area that can, you know, it's things that can take care of themselves.
Right. Something sustainable. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would
Right?
think to do,
Why not have, why we have land? Why not allow, you know, some fruit trees or some,
So,
you know,
so
shrub?
there was a cooperative with, there's a cooperative with UConn. I wonder if 5 Points would be willing to continue the same. I'm sure if we talk to them, they'd be
So
willing.
the
Yeah.
thing was that was great. It was land that was available to do it, but it's off. And I think, it's great. I don't know if anybody's using it. I'd love to know what's happening with it. You know, I'd love to know, like, I have fruit trees, they don't bear fruit. Like, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
well,
You know, so
that's what
they may or may
probably-
not have even ever made fruit. And then, you know, I'm walking at, Hall Meadow.
Yep.
There's a huge apple tree there.
Right.
That there's a ton of fruit.
Right.
You
So-
know, I don't remember it from when I was a kid, but some big old apple tree grew up and, you know, and bears fruit there. So that, I mean, that's already happening.
I haven't come across info on that, but you think that's something that Kim would have had or Rista?
Okay, so Kim was the one who was interested in the food forest. She was giving us some reading material, and we were trying to figure out, like, I think at the time the commission thought it was a fantastic idea, and then we got trees donated, and we got students, agricultural students, to plant them.
Okay.
At the Yukon branch. And after that, I don't know if Kim left shortly after that. I mean, I really haven't heard anything about it since.
No, I'm just
But-
wondering if I dig around, if Kim worked on stuff here, if I dig around, I could probably find it.
You would probably find it.
It's nothing I've
Yeah,
run across. So
it was Kim. It was Kim.
instead of like trying to start from scratch, if she's got some of the old info, I can dig it all out.
Right. And I'm still in contact with Kim.
You know, I got room on my desk for more paper.
Yeah, she's got a very sharp memory.
I have a couple of questions. One is, I mean, I like the idea of, I mean, I think we should periodically look at our plan and or our recommendations as a commission. So I applaud that idea wholeheartedly. And I think, you know, as we look at it, we'll probably come up with ideas that aren't bubbling up right now.
Yeah.
But with respect to the former Yukon branch that I guess is now 5 Points, I know nothing about that except for generally speaking where it is. So, but are you saying that we can potentially work with some people? I mean, are there limitations that 5 Points in their agreement has that as to its use? Could a food forest be incorporated there? I mean, I know what it was is with the ag program at Yukon, that makes sense, a lot of sense. Now I'm just wondering if the same could be true with there, and if so, approximately how much property is there? I have no clue.
Well, the one thing I can answer is I don't think there's any specific restrictions. There was, I think in the original deed when Yukon took the property, there was some restrictions on, I think who it could be sold to or what kind of use. I mean, when I say what kind of use, I mean like not developed for housing or something. It was something like that. I can't exactly remember, but there were some restrictions for Yukon, but it's not whatever they were. I know it wouldn't prevent like a cooperative, you know, food plots or something.
Okay.
Any kind of food plots. So I think it's really boils down to it's something that 5 Points is interested in. And I don't see why they wouldn't be if
Right, it's a community. I mean, I know it's
Yeah.
an art community, but but the thing is, so there is some stuff there now. I don't know how many
Right.
trees there are, but there, we had an orchard, some kind of small orchard donated, and it got planted. And I think it was something that we were supposed to be experimenting with how it worked. And the downside is it isn't really in a population center. So, unless you know about it and unless you have a car,
Yeah.
and you're hungry, you're not gonna be able to go up there and necessarily and get that food. So I'm just thinking, like, yes, that's great, but where else can we expand it in a place that's more accessible to where the people who are experiencing hunger live? Or we might, and the thing is what's nice about it is there's I know there's the food, there's the food pantries and everything else, but like as a kid, if you know that there's places where you can go grab an apple, or you can go grab some black raspberries or something like that, and it's something that's just accessible to you when you want it.
So
Well,
I'm just thinking, I wonder, so we've got all these little parcels of open space around, probably around the town, at least close to the town center, or at least around some housing. Maybe we can look into some grants for urban farming,
For
urban agriculture.
Escaping or what? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to just, I like the idea a lot, actually. And as you're talking, the more I hear you talk, the more I think just what you just said. There are a lot of little plots. We don't need 100
That's
acres.
right.
We
That's
have
right.
a lot
We
of,
need them. We need little plots dispersed.
Right.
That's what my
So,
vision is, that
I mean,
there's got to be a lot of them.
Yeah.
and when I think about it, I think of down, I don't know it as well as you all do, but there are a lot of places along the river that may flood occasionally and what have you, that they can't be used for, development for houses or other buildings. I just wonder if we looked at a patchwork of places and the objective was to plant trees and fruit bearing bushes and what have you, that people are welcome to
That's right.
just pick fresh fruit whenever the hell they want. I mean, I kind of like that idea, as long as they don't make a business out of it, that they're just, people are able to get free fruit, free vegetables as it comes due, and that we use that space. Because I also see another thing coming from that. Not only do I think it's great for the community to be able to have fresh fruits and vegetables and not have to pay for them, and the other one is, I think, you could get, if you expand it, I could imagine, for example, working with, I'm just going to think out of one of the organizations I belong to, is the Audubon Society. Trees, bring insects, they bring, birds, all these other things. And if we put a plan together with organizations like the Audubon Society or the Trails Group or any other group, I think that can get us some grants. I also think it could give us a plan, instead of, so I mean, I do think we have to be planful about this, but I love the direction we're talking about.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that in planting, I mean, a lot of these are native, like the ones that are going to take off and need the least maintenance are going to be more native trees. So you have things like Ronia berry and service berry, and and that's also food for wildlife.
Right.
And if I may add, with the new high school coming up before too awfully long, maybe the students get involved in pruning, or they get involved in planting, or they get involved in, whatever it is that we might get involved with the larger project. But I love the fact that it can be little parcels and not have to take up some big place.
Right.
Yeah, and they have pretty low. I can't think of another term, so I'll say usefulness as a biological resource. I mean, they're not zero, but they're pretty low quality when it comes to like protection of land, when they're in, when they're small pieces loaded with invasive plants in the, besides providing some cover, they don't have a lot of value for wildlife and that kind of thing.
Right.
And you don't want to just turn them all into dog parks. So that this would be a good type of use, community gardening and food forest, things like that. Yeah. I think I just have to maybe go through and see if we've got any closer to downtown. I mean, we got some that are already parks that are close to downtown, but actual.
The other thing is that in some place, like if you can plant in one far corner, I mean, I think one of the reasons that cities don't tend to plant fruit trees is the fallen fruit and having to deal with, the mowers and everything going. But if you can take one far-flung corner, like a northern corner that has, you've got open grass and you got southern exposure to it, and stick a pear tree, or a pear tree here and an apple tree here and a peach tree there, like different parks. And I mean, I've been experimenting with this myself in my yard. And one of the things I think is really interesting is my cultivar, the red raspberries that I plant don't make anywhere near the amount of food that the wild black raspberries do.
Yeah, the wild ones, exactly. Yeah.
And so it's like, it's like, and all I have to do is go and prune them you know, as at the end of their season, and they
Yeah.
go quadruple their yield every
Mm-hmm.
year. So it's just like, you know, there could be really low hanging fruit,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no pun intended,
yeah,
in terms of in terms of addressing hunger.
all right. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I got some notes to follow
Okay.
up on with that. So, yeah, all right. So I'll look into grants. I will try to make some contact with. Well, I'll try to figure out where the 5 points thing stands, but we'll also
Oh,
try to see if there's any other prime spots.
so the other thing I'm thinking is you could have some strategic placement along the Sue Grossman Greenway.
Mhm.
And same with whatever the river, what is it going to be, the Naugatuck River
The
Greenway?
Naugatuck River Greenway.
Right.
Yeah,
I
they
would think
basically they split right at Franklin Plaza. One goes south and one goes north.
Okay. So, I mean, that's the other thing is along those places, those places where people are walking, there could definitely be edible landscaping.
Yeah, I mean, like places like you know, along the trail at the senior center where it's open, you know,
Mhm.
stuff like that, where we got open areas
Right.
along the where the softball fields are, and
Yep.
you know, along those sides. Yeah, where we get plenty of sun exposure. And
Yep.
okay.
So yeah, and an assessment, you know, like going through and doing an assessment of areas and figuring out where some of that viability for something like that would be.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And there's probably areas right along Sue Grossman that are, I mean, again, I'd have to like bring in Brett Simmons from
Right.
Parks and Rec, because they're going to have to maintain around this stuff. So, you know, so he'll have to be involved a
Yep.
bit too. So, yeah. Okay. All right.
Is there anything else?
It's something on the list.
Yeah.
Well, there's two things. There's two
Yeah,
things.
there are two things that the way I count it.
Yep. Well, I have three: joint meeting with Torrington Trails, and then check on the link with the heritage land.
Mm-hmm. I
That's
mean, I guess
5 points.
also Bessie Pond is of interest to me, like
Bessie.
carrying on Jim's.
Oh,
Jim's
yeah.
to
So
deeper
they
into
did do,
people.
just for an update on that, they did do the first swipe at the
Yeah.
it's going to be going on over about a 5-year period, but they
Right.
went through their first kind of, you know, phase this year. They removed quite a bit. They
Yeah.
said it was about 5 truckloads.
Where'd it
Yeah.
go?
I don't know where they took it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure where it went, but it didn't stay on site to de-water. I thought they were going to do that, but they took it all out.
Good. I think
I
that's
don't,
good.
I don't know how it came out wet, but but there was no dewatering areas. So maybe it was just that particular, because they came out that part of the pond, they came right out like to the road. I think when they do some of the other areas, they're going to be on the edge, you know, the
Water it.
outside of the pond. So they're probably going to have to leave the piles and dewater them.
Yep. But yeah, I'd like to see us progress to removing silt.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
So, okay. Earth Day cleanup planning discussion.
Yeah. So I don't know how we want to play this. Do we want to? Who knows what it's going to be like in April? How far along we are in vaccinations? You know, I think at best maybe we can leave it optional for people to go to the park, but
I really think that we have to be conservative about all of that type of thing.
yeah,
That's just
Yeah.
my opinion. I don't think it's going to be, you know, I mean, I remember, you know, the epidemiologists, when this stuff was coming out, they were saying it was 2 years.
yeah,
Be 2 years. And I just think we should go with that and just say it's good, you know, and then we could make a big fanfare when it's happening again, and it could be a big celebration. People
Well,
are dying.
The other note I
maybe we
made
should
that I
look
actually
at
started
doing
working on a
something
little bit was the
in
update to the maps. The you know, we have about 50 of these route maps. So
Yeah.
trying to update some of those based on stuff that I've seen.
I think that that's great. I mean,
Yeah.
So I think that, yeah, that's fantastic to do, because that is something that has to happen. And I mean, the other thing is, you know, trying to get our numbers back up, but I think that we will have more success, you know, after the defeat, or at least the little submission of COVID, than we will this
I
April.
mean, we had some interest. We had some interest last year. We had some people do some cleanup stuff, but it was less than 10 people
Yeah.
that
I
did it
want to
on
get
their own.
back up to, I want to get back up. Number one, I loved when the chamber, the young business, I don't know, I can't remember, some group of the chamber of young business people, when they were coming out in groups, like there were a bunch of adults that were coming out, and they were offices, you know, like there was stuff from the Chamber of Commerce, there was the mayor's office, and there was more enthusiasm amongst adults to do it as a community. And so they could go in the areas that had more traffic. It was safer for them. And, you know, then it really just became either a couple high school kids who were doing it for their community service, and like baseball, like little league teams, or the Kempo or whatever. And they could only do the parks. And so it's getting, you know, it's piling up on us again. So, you know, I was hoping so much that Rana would you know, jump all on board and use her community building skills to build it up. But she's clearly it's more about music. So for her, it's more about concerts and stuff. So I don't know. I was behind on this, you know, well, last spring I was behind because it was just busy. In the fall, I wasn't sure what was going on for COVID. So I didn't really. It's been declining for years. It really doesn't have anything to do with you. And I wasn't sure. I don't know what, I think it's really kind of been, our numbers have been declining since Kim left.
Yeah.
So so I don't know what her process was, or who she knew, or how she got people involved, but she had many, many more adults involved, and we had an easier time. Social media, it also has been the rise of social media.
Right.
The decline of people reading the newspaper and listening to our radio station, because, you know, we keep thinking, oh, we'll post on social media and people will come, and it's the worst way of notifying anybody of anything. So, you know, and I think, so for the fall, I was hoping that some of my contacts, the teachers at the high school who are in the science department, would help get some enthusiasm for it.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen because COVID. But
and like I said, we got a few. It really is too bad that we couldn't get that Earth Day 50 going last spring, you know. But you know, I did get it. Like I said, I got a few people in the spring, a few people in the fall, but we obviously didn't do anything live. They just wanted to do some cleanup, so I provided them with maps. And I said, there's nowhere for you to bring your garbage, so you got to bring it home.
Right.
But
so then
thank you for participating.
The other thing is, and I don't know how we can incorporate this. I mean, we are a very different city than Crunchy, Granola, Boulder, Colorado. But I do think that we have a pretty vibrant youth community. We have a vibrant arts community. There's a lot of counterculture here, and I think that they're engaged. Like my sister has a job through the city. That's a volunteer organizer. Like she just deals with people who want to volunteer doing something in Boulder, and so you know, so her job is to be like, oh, you want to volunteer? Let me find, you know, I'm going to find a good match for you. Yeah, and I wonder.
You know, admittedly, I think Kim was probably better at that than I am, but you know, I can at least stay in touch with people if I have a good list to work off of, you know.
Well, we never had a program like that, but I'm just wondering, like, do we, as one of us, as a volunteer, you know, as a member, like maybe that's something that we rotate where we look for what are the volunteer opportunities for the city. I mean, a lot of it is going to be cleanup, but I'm sure there's probably other stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like what is a volunteer, you know, because I think that conservation is very tightly interwoven with community pride
Yeah,
and engagement and having a stake in your community. So I don't think it's outside of our purview to try to, be a nexus for community engagement and volunteerism. So the conservation.
and
so
volunteer wise, we have 5 openings on this board right now too.
I know, I'm not trying to,
No, I mean,
just saying.
that's a good place to start.
Right. So I'm just thinking, maybe we can, if we can fill out our membership, maybe one of the things is to rotate being, identifying areas we need volunteers and rotating, on a yearly or every 6-month basis, having somebody volunteer coordinator.
Yep.
Just doling out the jobs. Here's my list. You called, here's
Great.
what I got.
All right. So, I mean, I guess the way I'm hearing it is we're gonna stay away from the park again this year and just try to organize it, at an arm's length. But I do think I'm trying to get started earlier this year so I can get ahead of it. So maybe we can at least double or triple our numbers. We can get to 20 or 30 people instead of 8,
Yeah.
I
mean, that's my opinion. I don't know what anyone else thinks.
No, I think I don't think we know what's going to be April's going to be like, and I think I don't think you should assume that everything will be all
hunky dory.
Light.
No.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't expect it to be over for a while.
Yeah.
All right. So I think, like I said, even with COVID, I think we could, when I say we, I mean me, could probably do a little better job of getting more people out too. So at least I'm getting started at probably 2 months earlier this year than I did last year. So, the mayor, I know the mayor's office would be more than happy to put out a blurb. I can get a little further ahead on even our own web pages. Getting ZBG to run it to run it a little further ahead than they have before. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I think we have to get local news, and we used to get Chris Murphy came out and cleaned, and all of our reps used to come out and clean. It was just a bigger event.
Yeah. At least we can target that for the maybe September, the Clean Up the World Day.
Yeah, if I may say so, I'm on the Democratic Town Committee, and I would be happy to propose to us as the Torrington Democratic Town Committee that we would be a group that would take part in this. And and there are 40 members. If we got 10, that plus the others, we're getting the 20 or 30 you're talking about.
Yeah,
that's a good group to petition for members on this board too. The committee, the political committees.
Right.
The other group is the trail, the Torrington.
Yeah,
trails.
right.
Yep.
I agree, Dan.
Okay.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
So that's how I'll plan it out anyway.
All right. So old business, continued discussion schedule for open space parcel inventory and data collection.
So I don't have a.
I think I had said I would go out. I think I totally dropped the ball on that.
No, it was me, because I was gonna where we left it. I was gonna put data sheets and maps, and what the packets I try to make it for each one are the data sheets.
Yeah.
The whatever's filed for maps and the deeds, and we put them all in one packet. I was put those packets together and get them out, even if it was just in a standard form.
Yeah.
And I was working on them. last week, and didn't get that far before I was interrupted.
Yeah.
With any people coming in the door, other projects. So
yeah. Okay.
So still in progress. So
okay.
It's pretty cold right now. Anyway,
fitting. I'm totally willing to go out.
Okay.
Alone.
So I had you. I don't have the map up like I did last meeting, but I had you at for numbers 3, 4, and 6, which were all kind of small ones.
Right. Yeah.
That we could do solo for now.
Yeah.
But if what I'll probably do is just each time I get one ready, I'll just send out an email and say who wants to do this one. But that's what I have down right now.
Okay.
Good idea. Let's just, I mean, I
Yeah,
think, let's
knock
move
it out.
forward, okay? Let's get some
Yeah.
things done.
Yes.
I don't want to be talking about this next year. I really don't.
Well, we will be. We will be.
Well, I
Look at
mean, that we haven't made any progress. I don't want to say that next year.
We got about a dozen out of close to, well, somewhere between 50 and 60. I don't know the exact number, but we got probably a good 25 to 30 at least left to do.
Okay.
And a lot of them are big. There are
Okay.
quite a few of them are big, bigger than these
Yep.
tiny ones.
Mhm.
So yeah,
More than one of us can go out. It might be easier if there's two or more of us go out, you know, since a big parcel and we're not
right.
still wear masks to stay apart type thing.
Okay. Yeah, that's, I mean, I think for the time being, at least what we decided a couple of months ago was we were going to chop out the the little ones first, get all the ones we could go out to do solo, and then start doing pairs again when we exhausted those.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think there's going to be quite a few we do as a whole commission,
Right.
whoever we have.
And it's not hard to do them in the winter as long as there's not a lot of snow.
Yeah, as long
which-
as it's not deep snow. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'll try to finish those before it gets too busy in here in the spring.
I'm willing to commit to doing 2 a week. So if you want to send some smaller ones to me,
Okay.
that is not a problem.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah. So as I get these done, I'll basically just send an email saying who's interested in doing this one.
Okay.
So
Sounds good.
All right. So we have no communications?
Nope.
All right. We are.
oh yeah, but no, I have no, never mind. I was
No?
gonna
Okay.
say with the we have the I'm drawing a blank here. The Connecticut Bar Association land use thing, but I don't think that's really for conservation. It's more for
Okay.
the regulatory boards.
Yeah.
Coming up in March, in early March, but I think that's really for the other boards.
And so we're ready for adjournment.
Yes.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor? And Dan?
Yes, aye.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So motion carries. We are adjourning at 7:11 PM.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Stay
All
well.
right. Good night. Stay
Bye.
safe.